All right. We should be live. All right. So, everyone, this is Joel. And he is here to talk about, I guess, your MGTOW story, how you got custody of your son, and all the good stuff that's happened, and the bad
Yeah,
stuff.
you gotta have both, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think all I wanted to say that was that when I was in my teens, I was, you can say I was a little bit rebellious, right? Because
Mm.
I grew up in the West,
Yeah.
and it doesn't matter where you go, but the people are, crazy. But
Right.
I did, I still have, and I did have a mother growing up,
Mm.
and my father was, good guy, but he didn't have that true male guidance where he was more of a leading type of guy.
Mm.
But he was a good guy nevertheless,
Yeah.
because he grew up raising his mom, taking care of his mom and his sister at 9 years old.
Mm.
So to him, it was like, this is it
Right.
mentally, right? But so I was always outside in the streets, trying to, how should I say it, trying to find the right answers,
Mm-hmm.
but instead I got in trouble with the wrong people.
Right.
And so eventually things changed when I got into sports and uh, found what I needed, to be aware, you know. And I always said, like, if you make a mistake, you're gonna pay that consequences, and you're gonna pay them bad.
Yeah.
So I was always trying to be more evasive, which one of the things that sports does teach you how to avoid things,
Yeah.
and not get into shit you don't need to.
Yeah.
And so eventually I end up meeting my ex, who is the mother of my child,
Mm-hmm.
and in high school. And then after that, I think when I was like 21, that was when I first became a father. Now I'm 35. I'm gonna be 36.
Yeah.
So I still got a good few years where I can just be like, I'm 40, man. I'm still got. I don't know about everybody else. Everybody's 30, 40 starting. I'm okay.
Yeah.
You know. So and so I noticed that even when I was dating her, uh, you know, I guess my personality fit her description as to the type of guy she likes. You know, wild guys, unpredictable guys,
Yeah.
and I didn't realize that it was just something that she liked.
Mm.
She just likes him crazy, right?
Right.
And I was like, well, I guess she must be crazy too.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
you know, and but I noticed that even being around her, man, she would always piss me off for no reason. Up to the point where like, man, I don't even like you,
Yeah.
right? And one day, I think, well, before leaving her, we were living together, and I saw that she wasn't making me happy, right? But she would always ask, when are we always gonna get married? And I'm like, shit, not yet,
Right.
not yet, not too soon, but we'll see. And so,
Which means
event,
no.
yeah, thanks. I
That's
guess at that
well,
age,
we'll
yeah,
yeah, we'll see as parent talk for no.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And so one day, I just got my shit and I left. I think I was 21 when I left.
Yeah.
And my kid was just a newborn baby, and I didn't really think so much as the outcomes and etc. It's just like I don't really give a shit. I'm not happy. I don't care about none of this stuff. And things started going downhill from there. Seeing how the system works against you, then you got a reality check.
Right. So how did that go? Because you said you got custody of your son, right?
Yeah.
How did
Well,
how did you swing that?
Well, it wasn't long, long enough how she started dating somebody else ASAP. Nothing to be surprised about. This is if a girl doesn't like something, they're always planning something else. She's probably already has another guy lined up when
Mm.
things go downhill. And so she ends up getting with this next guy. After she got with this next guy, she started fucking up her choices. She
Mm.
started getting in trouble. And so the more she got in trouble, the more chances I was able to use that in court when it was needed.
Yeah.
And so it got to the point where, child services had to get involved.
Mm.
And that was when I took advantage of the situation. And I had a straight talk with her and I told her, like, look, we both want the kid. We both want him. But the reality is, you're not going to give him a better life that I'm going to give him.
Right.
You're just not. I don't give a shit who you have. You're just
Right.
not. If I know I'm better than you, there's no way you're going to give him something better than me.
Right.
Right? That it's just, and it sounds weird, but like when you know somebody where they're at, it's like there's no way you're going to surpass me.
Right.
And so I had a conversation with her, and I told him, look, just he has family around. He's not going to be alone. You know, uh, he's going to have a good life. It doesn't have to be the most wealthiest, but he's going to have family. And then at the same time, uh, I don't give a shit about child support. That's the least of what any father wants. He doesn't care about money.
Right.
The sole core is what his kids, right? And so you can come and visit him when you like, and just hand them over. Why do this to yourself? And just hand them over, and you can live, you know, your life the way you want to.
Right.
If this is too much for you, just live your life the way you want to, and it'll be okay. It'll still be good, no issues. And so we were in court, and she signed over the rights.
Okay. So you talked her into it.
Yeah, I can talk my way in through people. I know how to talk to people,
Yeah.
right? If there's one thing that my mother did, teach me was if you want things in life or you want to be, if you want to move something, you got to learn how to talk,
Yeah.
and you got to learn when to shut up and listen.
Right.
Right? So, and yeah, she just, and I told, the court, before the court ended, the case ended, how the judge always asks if there's anything else that you would like to say. I gave him my last few, speech, and I told him, like, look, if you don't hand them over, if you don't do your job and hand them over, I won't go to work. You can throw me in the can, and nobody gets nothing out of it.
Right.
And he's not going to be a protective member of society because
Right.
I knew exactly that's what he was. Like you want something and I want something. But if you're
Mm-hmm.
not going to give me something, I don't give a shit. You're going to fuck me the first chance you can.
Yeah.
At this point, it doesn't really matter. And if you do, it's an injustice situation. You're not doing your job. You're not in the best interest for a child.
Yeah.
And so the judge didn't argue with me about it and filed the case and handed him over.
Nice.
And here I am at 21, 22, right, with a 9-month-old baby. Can you believe that?
Yeah. Oh no, I can believe it.
You know,
Yeah.
it's insane. And so didn't had no idea how things were going to turn out, but I did tell my mother was like, look, I don't know how, I know that it's going to be a bumpy road here and there, but I told her, you know what? I'm going to do better than you, I told her. Better than you.
Yeah.
Even if you fight me, Even if you try to convince me, because she knew who I was exactly. Between I have more siblings, and I was always the
Mm-hmm.
black sheep of the family.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I was always the guy looking for things, not the person that's okay.
Yeah.
You know, and so fool me once, I can fall for it. Fool me twice, it's shame on me. And
Mm.
so I learned, quickly as to engaging with people.
Yeah.
And so I was taking care of them as I was raising them. Years went by. I think about a year flew by, and within that year, my mother was still trying to convince me, like, oh, why don't you start, why don't you go to the clubs or, party? I'm like, I don't have fucking money for this shit.
Right. Right.
You know? And it's like, I can't drink like these people, right? So I went with friends from high school. And by the way, at this time, I was born in California, in East LA, which is a shithole ass place.
Mm-hmm.
It's like another TJ.
Yeah.
And, in my teens, I moved to Vegas.
Mm.
So it's another wild ass place. It didn't matter where
Yeah.
it was, right? So 22 was my first time when I went to a nightclub. Wasn't even 21 like most guys do, or most
Mm-hmm.
young adults do.
Yeah.
22, I was like, I wasn't thinking about this shit.
Right.
And I went. I went with a friend. He invited me. Never had to pay for never had to pay for the drinks, maybe just to get in. And man, the wild shit that I would see from these people and get hammered. I was like, I can't do this. But it took me about a month to say, this is not for me.
Yeah.
And so, and that was it. So I went back to my own business. I went working. There was nothing else going on. But I knew that the way people were behaving was incorrect.
Right.
I knew right
Yeah.
away. It's like, I know it's not me. Why is it
Right.
that I see that there's something wrong? It's not, I know it's not me,
Right.
right? But when you become almost an outcast because you think differently
Yeah.
and you see things for what they are, but yet
Yeah.
they tell you it's something else,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
You can't do that, right? And some of these things that I've learned as to being honest with yourself is like when I was in sports, I used to be a boxer. And before getting into the ring on Saturdays, if you wanted to continue with your training sessions and do some sparring, the coach would always read the Bible for you
Hmm.
because your life is on the line.
Right.
You're getting punched all the time. If they ask what's the temple, of course you would say not an actual building, but the temple is the center of your brain,
Mm.
and so you have to protect that. But you have to be honest with yourself. If you don't do things the right way, you're gonna pay the price,
Mm.
right? So I knew when I was out into the real world, I knew that people were like all fucked up and fake it till you make it, and
Right.
I
I
was
hate
like,
that. I hate that saying. Like the fake it till you make it thing.
you lost your damn mind. I was like, I can't go and rent a car just to get laid or something, or
Yeah.
trying to impress somebody, and then I gotta go give it back like a loser.
Right.
That's not cool, man. So yeah, so that was one of the things, and I did have numerous times as the years went by. I did have numerous opportunities to get married, but I didn't want to. I
Yeah.
said no to I think about three of them.
Mm.
I think you know how they always say. I don't know. Maybe you would know this better than I would, but I guess it is true, or I don't know if it's true or not, that when guys seem to be more attractive when they have a child,
Hmm.
because you know how a lot of times women select a guy for a specific reason.
Yeah.
He has something that she wants, whatever the case is.
Yeah.
And so when you're out in public, right? Because my kid was growing up, you're out in public, and you take them to the gym with you as well. You're teaching them the ropes. You're just teaching them to stay busy. Then everybody starts looking at you because you're so young,
Right.
and you look better than most of these goddamn people, anyways. Right? So the question is, how is it that you do it?
Mm-hmm.
Well, in life, there's never been anything that my parents have taught me that you live a fantasy life, you live a reality life. We don't, there is no, how should I say it? Everything is fine and glorious 24/7. We don't live that life.
Right.
You work, you do things for your home and the family, and you enjoy their time. That's what I was growing up. I don't know about what everybody else was doing, but that's what I was growing up with.
Yeah.
So it was very hard to people to picture that. And I think even a few years. So for a long time, I realized that I knew that I didn't want it, even though I had the opportunity to get married and with maybe, I don't know, potentially good women, right?
Mm-hmm.
But coming out of that situation with court case and everything else, you really think I'm gonna go back in there?
Right. Right.
You know? And so I was like, you know what? Honestly, I don't know what it is, what's going on with me. So I'm a little bit undecisive. So I can't give you what you want,
Yeah.
you know? And because I always say the truth, it always how do you call it? It solves everything. Like they make a choice and you're like, okay, you move on with your life.
Yeah.
Right. So that's just basically how it goes. And a few years, I think I was 25 or 26. I think it was, or 20. Yeah, I think it was like 26 maybe or 27 when I found, um, I'm sure you probably heard of this YouTube streamer for Sandman.
Mm-hmm.
And I came across his YouTube, because the thing was is that I was searching online, like, why is it that, I was trying to find answers. Why is it that people behave X, X, Y, and Z?
Yeah.
And like, I know it's not me.
Right.
And so, and then all of a sudden he came across, and then I listened to his story, and then it made more sense. And then that bell rings, and then you're like, so that's what that is.
Yeah.
And I think about 5 years ago, I contributed some money to him to make a video. I just gave him a topic and etc. And he made a video and he goes along. And but as the years went by, I understood the game and I saw everybody else around me, even my colleagues at work that were married, they were fucking miserable.
Yeah.
They didn't understand why their wives were doing certain things. And I was
Right.
like, oh, I know why. And I know exactly why. And I was like, it got to the point where my own boss envied me because I was more rational than he was,
Mm.
and he's older by like 20 years. It's like, how the fuck do you not know this?
Right.
I wasn't better than him by any means, but I just knew what was going on.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't have to know your girl. I could just see how she talks and how she walks. I know where this shit is going.
Right.
You know,
So what would you blame for this? For the misbehavior of these women?
what would I don't know.
If
I
it,
think what would I blame?
yeah.
Not entirely everything, but I do accept that the fact that they're women are women. They operate differently. They behave differently. They're more emotionally right, and when they get when they're in an uncomfortable situation, uh, their behavior is that they act in a more irrational. They make an irrational choice, and they add one after another and after another and after another. And I don't know. I just think that they're very emotional. Can they be honest? Yeah, one in a million. You
Right.
know, you know. And so But the thing was, is that I don't know. I honestly, I can't nobody to blame for this. That I know that a lot of these, generations, they don't know what's going on. They're just being go do this, and they'll go do it like like little puppets.
Yes, they're being brainwashed.
Uh, and so I mean, I all I know is that now that the cat is out of the bag,
Hmm.
now it's a problem. Now everybody got a reality check. Now everybody needs to protect their best interests.
Yeah.
You know, and so that's what I see. I see that they do want to do well, but they just don't know how.
Yeah.
They don't know how.
Yeah. Well, because the people teaching them what to do currently are all crazy bitches. So they learn
Crazy
from
people.
yeah.
Uh, so
So
how do
so
you?
you consider yourself a MGTOW dude, right?
Yeah, I guess.
Or
Oh, I accepted it for a while already because it's been what, almost, 15 years that I've been single.
yeah.
Since 21, had the opportunity to get married, and then you try to go in, and it's like, ah, fuck, I don't like this.
Yeah.
You realize it's like, it's not worth it, man. And
Yeah.
as soon as let's say an uncomfortable situation occurs, and I'm not used to it because it's almost 15 years, there's no way you're gonna change me. Like how a lot of girls try to change you.
Right.
I'm like, that's not gonna happen. You're gonna need Jesus for sure.
Right.
So, and I do consider it that I think down the road I'm gonna be that way. Even if I want to change, I just couldn't.
Yeah.
It's very hard, like especially with everything around you. It's very hard, and it's not fear. It's just your freedom. It's like, what else are you willing to give up after they have everything against you?
Right. So what can you list some of the things that you're not a fan of being against you? Like, for instance, because there's some people that don't understand. Like, I know, like Bullets calls it the gynocentric landscape. Like, it's a gynocentric social order. It's everything is predominantly skewed towards the favor of women. And I don't think a lot of people really truly understand how deep that goes.
No, and I understand how deep that goes. I
Yeah.
know very well, especially if you want to go back into like history,
Hmm.
right, to the ages of like Greek, right? I know that the Greeks knew that language, culture, music was the key to mold a society, to mold a tribe, and get whatever it is you wanted to accomplish out of them. You know,
Yeah.
and even now, it's not that different. The music is the same way. I mean, look at the trashy ass rap music that they listen to now. You
Right.
know, more and more YouTube allows women to go on YouTube and without clothes. What, they're gonna start fucking on YouTube for free?
Right.
You know, nobody has to pay. It's free,
Yeah.
uh, according to their eyes. But the system has always, the system has always worked. It's just they manipulated the system, but it's always worked.
Yeah.
Because in Rome fell because of many things. It wasn't just because of crooked politicians, promiscuity, feminism,
Hmm.
Spartans, right? And time over time, they've always tried to let women, be important to society, which they always have been. It's just, uh, it's a proven fact, even all the way if you want to look into the Bible, that you're not supposed to allow a woman to lead
Right.
because this is what you get. She
Right.
wants more and more and more. The more you give her, she'll get it, but she's never happy
Mm.
because they don't know what they want all the time. They're always undecisive. They want one thing, they're hot. One day they're hot. The next night they're cold. It's like you don't even know. they're emotionally, and so they just utilize that to manipulate the system. But I've always supported the system because the republic has always been something that makes society allows to advance um, through technology. But we as humans, we have never evolved. We have adapted to the evolution of technology, but we have never evolved
Hmm.
because we still have the same lifespan. We're not floating. We're not no fucking avatars, blue fucking little aliens. We haven't evolved. We just adapted to the current society with the utilization of technology. Nothing else.
Yeah.
But everything is still the same. They had
You th-
currency back then.
yeah. Do you think we're not built or designed for the current technology? Are we compatible with it? It seems to make people crazy.
Like specifically, like in general, like both genders or women.
Both.
Um, I think we are compatible. The problem is that sometimes there's too much information out there. That's the problem.
Yeah.
That's one of the problems, you know. But nowadays, you can print something or you can make a video when this person this and 10,000 people believe this shit and then they go crazy, right? They want to go throw themselves off a cliff. All right, well,
Right.
be my guest, you know,
Right.
you know. And so we are compatible. The problem is that it's so much easier to lie to somebody than to make somebody understand.
Yeah.
That's the key. It's how you move it. And like I said earlier, if you want to move something, you got to learn how to speak. And people believe that shit like Santa Claus is about to drop and give me 10 presents. You know, and you and I both know he's not real, but
Right.
they'll still fall into that like dummies. You know, so we are compatible. It's just we there's too much crazy information out there. Um, how are we ever gonna get better? I don't know. I don't really give a shit. I'm a free guy. At the end of the
Yeah.
day, I have to I struggle. So you know, like I said, they're gonna fuck us the first chance they get. So this is nothing new. So and when that comes, then you have to. That's when your back is against the wall. What do? You push
Yeah.
back.
Yeah.
That's all you can do, right? And a lot of times when you do stand up for yourself, they leave you alone because they're
Yes.
not willing.
Right.
They're not willing to
Right.
put their lives on the line.
Right. That's what I've been trying to convey with, because we have a society of men that are afraid to speak up, right? I mean, you see it.
Oh yeah.
And trying to convince them that these crazy bitches are nothing but cowards, that you just like don't back down, don't do what they say, tell them no. Like guys seem to have a hard time with that.
Well, that's because a lot of times, growing up, I
Yeah.
think even now is men and women they're coddled up.
Yeah.
They're not given like I guess they like tough experiences, or maybe they have. But the problem is that when somebody I think in your family, mother and father, don't truly not saying truly love you, but don't truly fight for you, you'll never
Yeah.
see that unity of family that is power.
Yeah.
Family is power. In my eyes, family is power.
Yeah.
There's always a moment when somebody's having a rough time. What do? You don't shut them down. You lift them up. You know, and so being in tough situations, I think a lot of times, because men go through, if they have a dispute with a girlfriend and she calls the cops and throws you in the can, then the guys are like, well, I don't want to go in there. He went to jail and I don't want to get raped. And I was like, that's fine. Okay, fine. Go hide in that cave. You think
Yeah.
she's going to respect you? She
Mhm.
automatically knows you're a bitch from the beginning. And if she sees that she can slap you around, she'll keep pushing it because you don't have any boundaries.
Right.
But when you're willing to put yourself in the line and you're willing to take to the extreme, then they think about it
Right.
twice. Even with the 150 laws against you, they'll think about it. That's why you even see on TV, every now and then on the news, what is it? Some fucking guy always killing his wife and his kids and going tyrannical and shit.
Mhm.
That was the wrong guy to fuck with, to begin with. That's in my case. That was the wrong guy to mess with.
Yeah.
You know, maybe he was on heroin. I don't know, but that was the wrong guy.
Yeah. I just saw an article about a chick that got custody of her kid and then shot him with a shotgun.
She shot him with a shotgun.
Yep, her child.
Um,
There's something seriously fucking wrong with a woman that would do that to her child.
yeah, that's really fucked up.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, I think when you stand up for yourself, if you're gonna stand up for yourself, put your life on the line. Because 7 out of 10 times, most people will talk a lot of shit, but they'll never put their lives on the line because then they start to think about it. And then that's
Yeah.
when you give them reality or simple facts or truth, whatever it is. You're a very simple individual. You're straightforward. You don't mess with people. But as soon as they crosses and that fingers snaps, then everybody backs away,
Yeah.
and so they stop messing with you. They don't want to be around you. They call you,
Yeah.
oh yeah, he's the devil. He's an asshole.
Right.
And I was like, yeah, I'm a fucking misogynist. I'm everything. I don't give a fuck.
Right.
You know, throw away the keys. I don't give a fuck. And
Yeah.
so, and that's how it is. I get away with it like that.
Yeah. So how long have you been watching MGTOW content? Who are your favorite creators?
The only favorite that I have would probably be Sandman. I don't watch him as much because I know he's always coming up with content,
Yeah.
but I've heard enough of this shit already
Yeah.
that I have it like I can write it reverse, with the back of my hand with my eyes closed. That's how
Yeah.
good I know it, right?
Yeah.
And then there was another guy that used to be on there, but he's not there anymore. And this was an early one. His name was, is it? I think it was MGTOW 101. I don't know if you heard of him.
Mm-mm.
Very in early days, and he used to make really good content like Undead Chronic. Because when Undead Chronic was around, he had a lot of subs, and then all of a sudden got shut down. Had to
He's still
restart all over.
around.
Oh, I
He's
know he is,
yeah.
but he lost a lot of subscribers and a lot of money involved, and he got fucked.
Yeah.
And so his stuff was cool, but then afterwards, it was like after I had enough, I was like, I don't need this shit no more,
Yeah.
right? And so now I just see the world, and I just blend in along and play everybody along and tell them what they want to hear,
Mm.
and but you know the game very well inside and out. And
Yeah.
so you're like, I don't have to do that. But yeah, no, those were more like my mostly the three guys that I would actually watch the most. Those
Yeah.
was like maybe about 7 years ago, 8 years ago, right? So that was a very long time, and it doesn't seem long, but it's a long time.
Yeah.
And I think Undead Chronic has been around for since around that time, yeah, when Sandman started, and I never got a chance to listen to some of the stories that Sandman was talking about, who was the guy who created I guess you want to say, I don't say created or invented this so-called acronym of MGTOW, right? But the manosphere itself that made everybody think was a guy named Barbarossa. I don't know if you heard of him.
Mm-hmm.
And so I never got a chance to look at some of his content, but yeah, those are about the only three. And I never
Hmm.
actually, out of all these years, I never subscribed to anybody.
Really?
Never. Even when YouTube came out, never followed anybody.
Hmm.
You can
So
always
how,
say like, you can say I'm a ninja watcher because
right.
I like to see what you're gonna do
Yeah.
right now and what you're and how you're gonna become later.
Yeah. So, well, how did you find this channel here? Because you
Uh,
emailed me.
I did. I
Yeah.
saw. I was looking again through some like what is it through some MGTOW contents, and then I saw. I got tired of of all the bullshit that the current individuals are doing because they're doing it for money, which is fine. If you want to make a living, I'm all about socialism and opportunities.
You said socialism.
Like I'm talking about like if you don't want to be a hard labor work, or you
Mm-hmm.
want to do something that's uh, something that's a little bit more passive, right, and a little less rigorous, I'm okay with it. I'm not gonna fucking do it, but if you're okay with it, that's fine by me. You get what I mean? I'm
I
okay
don't.
with it.
I don't know if that's socialism. I don't know. I think it's
Uh,
something else when I hear socialism.
well, yeah, to this extent, yeah. Now it's
Yeah.
communism and
Right.
Marxism. Don't get me
Right.
wrong. I get that. I get those as well. But I'm talking
Yeah.
about like if you don't want to do, hard labor, I'm okay if you want to do some other stuff that doesn't require that,
Yeah.
right? But you know, but everybody's just playing along and going along with what's going on because it's a big thing and you can make money out of it. But you
Right.
really don't give a shit about the people.
Right.
You really don't care about helping anybody. You really don't care about being so-called humble, And so yeah, so that I mean that's one of the things. I don't mind those things. It's just to each their own. And I started looking through the MGTOW, and then I saw what was it, 21 Studios?
Mm-hmm.
Then what's his name? The main guy, the dreamer Jordan
Anthony.
something. There you go.
Yeah.
I liked his intro.
Yeah.
That shit was hilarious.
you should. You should have seen his speeches from this past year. It was so funny. Him and
And I
Coach Greg Adams both had really funny speeches.
like an actual like live events that they've or what is it, or just like live streams.
No, no, no. The 21 Studio, there's a summit that he's doing every year. So
Oh really?
you go there. Yeah, it's
Oh,
pretty good.
oh okay. Well, I've seen that, and I was like, well, you know what? I've never been to Florida. Sounds like
Mm,
a good destination during the winter season, right? So I was like, you know, that'd be a good stop. But I did like his intros because
yeah.
he talked a lot of shit,
Yeah.
a hella shit, and I found it hilarious.
Yep.
All right, and guy had like no filter. I was like, yeah, that's my kind of guy right there.
Exactly.
That's my kind of guy. Why can't I find these guys?
yeah.
Why am I around fucking guys that are always, oh, you can't say that, man. Fuck out of here. Say
Right.
what you need to say.
Exactly.
Go out with your guns blazing.
Yep.
And so I saw some of his, his intro, and then I saw, I think you were on a live stream with, who was it? It was two other guys that you were doing a live stream. I think it was about a month ago or two. Can't remember. You were
Mm-hmm.
with another young, well, I guess I don't want to say young woman, but woman by the name of
Oh, Minka.
Minka. Yes,
Yeah.
that's what I said. I don't know about young, but
Yeah.
but
Yeah. So that would have been with Tony and Pat Stedman.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so I saw some of that, and then I saw, the conversation that you guys were having, and I was, somewhat amazed that, that you girls were a little bit more, how should I say, more rational,
Yeah.
because you can have normal conversations, even though you may not agree with everything. It's it's still rational. It's very
Right.
mature,
Right.
right? And so I was like, well, this is interesting, right? You know, everybody's always trying to like sell a bunch of bullshit and lines, and you can't have a normal conversations,
Yeah.
and you can't even get dive in deep because oh we can't tell the truth. We got to keep lying.
Right.
We got to cheat, lie, and steal all in one package.
Right. And you know what? That is the paradigm which all feminists move through. That's what keeps them going. Like I figured this out a couple months ago. I was trying to think of like their core values and their core principles, and is lie, cheat, and steal.
Yeah.
Because that's all the ideology is.
Well, that's how they've always lived.
Yeah. Well, they're parasitic. So
Sure.
either they'll steal some shit from you, or they'll cheat you out of some stuff, or they'll lie to get what they want.
Yeah.
It's so
And
weird.
yeah, no, and I've always known that. Like, because even when I was growing up, I have a sibling, right? And we were, I don't know, for some reason we were playing this game and we had to play Truth or Dare or something like that, right? Truth is, one time a comment came out of her. She said she doesn't know why she lies most of the time. And I looked at her.
Right.
I was like, oh, this is before the term red flag came up,
Right.
right? Oh, this is a fucking problem right here.
Yeah.
I got somebody, I got a mole in here that I gotta get rid of.
Well, at least she was self-aware, though. I mean, she was admitting it.
Well, yeah, and
Hmm.
at
How
least I
old
could
was
have.
she?
At the time, she was
Yeah.
probably like 25.
Oh, okay. So she was an adult. Yeah. I don't know
She
why
was,
I lie all the time. Huh. That's interesting.
right? And so a lot of times they sell they sell a lot of what do you call it? That's how you get around, with people who actually be something that they're not whenever they use a terminology. Fake it till you make it. Well, that's a lie,
Yeah.
right? If you read, I don't know if you're into grammar. No?
Not really.
Okay, well, never mind then. Guess that's a whole
I,
different thing.
I use the same your for everything and
Well,
there.
no. Oh, well, that's good enough.
Right?
At least it's somewhere. But um, usually, if you learn a little bit about grammar,
Mm-hmm.
and they use this in court all the time, even the judges and attorneys, they know this, but they will never tell you this.
Mm.
Language, right, is the biggest tool, not money. It's the biggest tool.
Yeah.
So, if the Greeks knew that somewhere down the line, if you wrote a paragraph or an essay and you wrote something about your life, and somewhere down the line something wasn't true, something was sketchy or wasn't true,
Yeah.
well, the entire segment is a lie.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I know that if from the bat, if a feminist or a young woman who probably doesn't know what the fuck she's saying, right? If I know that she's lying to a certain degree,
Mm-hmm.
then I got to consider that the rest of the entire language
Mm-hmm.
or the entire segment it's a lie,
Yeah.
and they utilize science with religion,
Right.
right? And they'll say things like, well, you know how people, what is that word that they call anomalous or anomaly? It's a terminology. It's basically nominalism. There you go. And so basically, people who just wander off all over their fucking, kumbaya in this world, actual human beings, and they say things like, if it's a street light out there, right? That street light is just something that has a name. It has no purpose. It's a lie. They think that everything that involves around them is just something that's made up. It's not. It's there for a purpose.
Okay.
If that
Hold,
makes
give.
sense.
Yeah. 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 Hold on one second. I have. Sorry.
It's all good. Yeah. So a lot of times, language is the biggest key.
Down. Sorry.
All good. Yeah, language is the biggest key. So if you know how to read, you know, if you know how to read just a basic statement or something from like an attorney, right? If I have to go to court
Mm-hmm.
and my ex wants to get me for child support for whatever the case is, I
Yeah.
know what's fake and what's not. The problem is, um, it's how you go about it if you don't realize it. Like a lot of times, you know how you get served to go to court, right? They send you a letter home, and you're served to go to court. You got served. You open up the document and you
Mm-hmm.
see that if the signature is not an actual signature, it's an electronic signature.
Mm-hmm.
It's a forged signature. It's not true.
Hmm.
It's false.
So does that mean you don't have to go?
No, you do have to go. The
Oh.
problem is, the problem is you don't know how to handle it in court. Most people don't. The
Right.
attorneys do, but they're never going to tell you that because they don't want to lose money. The judge doesn't
Right.
want to lose money, right? But what happens is a forged signature that's not signed right by an actual judge or some actually handwritten. It's almost like a drop case because they know it's false,
Mm.
right? Unless you bring it up in court and you know how to present it, right? Then you have a chance of getting the hell out of there very quick. If you don't know how to do it, they're gonna catch you when you least expect it.
Mm.
And so that's why I say grammar is a very important thing. I haven't
Mm.
done it in a while, um, but I do know that if I was ever to go to court, or if I wanted to sue somebody, I have to find a good reason. But some things can be undone. However, language is the biggest key, and that's what they utilize against people. That's why you have 150 laws against us,
Right.
right? Black and white ink. No, I'm expert, not a chance in hell. But I'm sure as hell, when women read it and they see the outcomes, they love it. You know, so it's a big giant. It's a big fuck ups. It's all fucked up. You
Yeah,
know,
it is.
So I normally just you know kind of like cruise my way through and just try to stay out of trouble. You know, and
Right.
um, and now that my kids getting older, I have more freedom. Yeah, that's a good thing. I have more freedom now, but and so now it's like, okay, so a lot of times I can talk to because I do have female friends, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny that I can have conversations with them and I can help them and get the message through them, pass the message through them in a way that a lot of guys can't, because certain things is like with women you cannot say because they just don't get it,
Right.
so don't even try it,
Right.
right? It's not what you say but how you say it, right? Just to be like somewhat soft or like it sounds like a beta or something. But
Yeah.
sometimes you cannot be too direct because then they get all their emotions get in the way and then they get all offended and they don't want to be there and they fucking run off and fuck you and you're a jerk. You know how that goes.
Oh yeah, I know how that goes. I've been told that I offend people quite often. Apparently, crazy bitches don't like to be called crazy bitches.
Oh, but that's because they don't want to look at themselves in the mirror and they're gonna go
Right?
crazy. You
Right?
know.
It's because they want to continue lying to themselves and everybody else.
That's cool. I'll join the club and lie to them too.
Mm.
Two can play that game.
Yeah.
I like it. As long as I get what I want, I don't give a shit about everybody else. And not
Well,
in a bad way, but it's like
right.
you can't blame me because I know that it's a lie and I played you. It's like, how does that work?
Right. Well, with your new free time now that your kid's getting older, are you gonna start a YouTube channel or anything?
Mm,
You think?
I haven't really decided that. I have
Yeah.
thought about it, but not so much because I actually, I work and I like to do things around. And so right now I'm in the process of like trying to get out of these apartments because I've always lived in a house, and living in this goddamn apartment has just had me up the rails already. I want a house again, and so most of the time I like to do things around the house, and I like to, if I want to work on my car, or if I want to, work out with my kid just so that he can keep me in shape because the dad bod catches up eventually. So
Right.
so uh, those are more important to me right now. The videos, I'll see if maybe I'm open to talk to people privately, right,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
help somebody that can,
Yeah.
or they want answers or something. A lot of times you got to give them, certain scenarios in order to get it through, you
Yeah.
know. And I have two friends, and both females. They if they ask me for something, they want to have a conversation with me, right? I can tell you what it is, and you know, I'll tell it to you where you'll be able to understand it, that you're going to get a result out of it, not it's your fault and you just gotta fucking change and make it happen. Like, it doesn't work like that, you know, because that's the shit
Mm.
told to everybody.
Right.
You just gotta do it,
Yeah.
but they don't tell you why you have to do it.
Right. The why is important. I feel like you really learn that when you raise children. Because when they're
Exactly.
young, you tell them something, they're like, why? And so then
Exactly.
you have to think about it and then explain it to them, and then they'll get it. So
Exactly.
when I see parents that are like, "Oh, just do it because I said so," it's like you're not giving the kid the why of it. Like,
The logical reason.
yeah,
I know, I get it. And that's one of the things about, like as far as like the MGTOW communities, some of the guys that don't have kids, right?
yeah,
Because sometimes, you can have too much freedom, and that's okay. That's great. But the one thing that you will not learn is how to communicate, because when you have children, you have to learn how to communicate. You have to learn how to
yeah,
prioritize. You have to learn how to protect what's yours,
yeah,
right? You gotta
yeah,
build a spine. And so sometimes, and so therefore, like a lot of times with that
mm,
experience that you have and I have, right?
yeah,
I can always talk to them and give you something that it may not make sense, but I'll give you the steps and the reasons why it needs to go this way.
yeah.
Otherwise, this is how it's going to turn out,
Right,
you know.
right.
So, like the other day, I have a friend. She is, she's married. They're very young. They're like 24. They got married at 20, 21 or something because she got pregnant and they were on that
Mm,
goddamn, what was it? What's that pill? Birth
mm,
control.
yeah. It didn't
And
work.
yeah, I guess maybe she should have taken two pills. You should have
Right.
snorted or took two pills.
Yeah.
But um, and so for the longest, she was actually living in her life, and she was with a friend of mine. It was a colleague, and great. And but I knew from the get go she was a little cuckoo, like a little lost puppy, right, onto the wind, and try to utilize her beauty and try to control the world. And
Right.
and I would always call her out. I was like, you're so fucking full of shit, you know,
Yeah.
like a good friend would do. Like I was like,
Yes.
you're a total bitch. Like, why would you do that?
Yeah.
And you know, and so somewhere down the line, we just connected as friends. And after I went working somewhere else, we still kept in touch. And now that she's a stay-home mom and she's happier,
Good.
if she has her bad days, and you know how nowadays if a man loses his job, you know damn well she's not going to stick around.
Right.
She's taking you to court and taking all your shit, you
Mm.
know. And so, and I helped her get through that phase as to what happens when you go this route.
Right.
Like, this is what's gonna happen, and you're not special. No one knows you. No one gives a fuck about you
Right.
or your fucking kid to begin with. I don't even
Yeah.
give a shit about your kid to begin. I had to be honest with it. Like, I like him, but I can't worry about your kid. I got to worry about mine.
Yeah.
I can care for them, but to a certain degree. And so they were going through a rough time, and I made her realize. I was like, "Look, I know that your husband is going through something, and you guys got a really rough situation going on. But this is what you don't understand from his side of the view. He goes to work. He tries to give you everything that you want, right? You get to stay at home, do whatever it is you need to do. I don't give a shit if you start doing cartwheels in there and he's not there. I don't care. The point is, he did all these things, try to build, try to move a mountain for you, and he was still left with nothing after he lost his job.
Right.
How do you think that made him in that situation feel?
Right.
Like he has nothing even with you, right? That's the
Yeah.
mentality, you know. And to get back up, it's going to take about a few months. It's not going to happen. For most guys, it does. You don't get back on your feet at least minimum in about 3 months.
Right.
That's the reality, you know. So you have to learn how to work right now. Go get a job, sadly, right? Go get a job, pay your bills, and when he gets something, things will turn around.
Yeah.
And I told her, like, you gotta cook. You gotta learn how to cook, there's a reason why they say keep his belly full and his balls dry.
Right.
Otherwise, they wouldn't have fucking worked,
Right.
or they wouldn't be mentioning it. But that's why they say that. And so she'll try, and then you can improve, and she'll hang around with women that actually are stay-at-home moms and that want to be moms.
Right.
Right?
That's a big key. Like a woman's friend group is so damn important.
Yeah, you know. And man, and with with me being friends with her, some of the shit that I heard from all these girls, crazy girls that she's come across and hang around with, my God, I was like, I thank God I'm not out there.
Right.
You know.
Yeah, it's a war zone. So you were able to help keep that family together?
Well, yeah, because they one of the biggest things is support.
Yeah.
Everybody's when things go wrong, everybody's ready to run out the door.
Right.
You know, you know. But if a guy gives everything that he wants constantly, and he's not getting what he wants,
Mhm.
you best believe he's gonna leave.
Mhm. Yeah.
And then once you leave, what do girls do when a guy's leaving and possibly has another girl? What do they end up doing? They end up chasing them like idiots.
Mm.
Because then they realize, oh, I made a mistake or something down the line. They realized that they were just, too emotionally wild, or they were just angry, whatever the case is. And yeah, but yeah, I've helped them out, and I told her like, look, this is what's gonna happen. I already know this process already.
Yeah.
Like, this is what's gonna happen. It's gonna change. It's gonna get better, right? But then you're gonna go back down again. You might go up, and you might go down again, and that's life.
Yeah.
That is the sole truth of the real world. The shit that they told you or that they sold you is a lie.
The fantasy
I need a
princess
Prince
stuff.
Charming.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never understood that cuz it's like I mean, I grew up watching the Disney movies too. I never imagined myself because I'm like I'm looking at the whole situation. I'm like there's an entire kingdom. Why would I envision myself as the princess? I would be more like the carpenter's daughter or something, you know, how is every girl imagining themselves and expecting the princess treatment? I never got that.
Well,
Yeah,
I mean, like I said, it's much easier to lie to somebody than to make them understand. Because if
yeah.
you really have to go back and say, well, what is a princess and what is a king and a queen?
People born to a royal bloodline, I think.
You know, a king and a queen are in place to lead a nation.
Right.
They don't.
Yeah.
When you watch, like, I'm sure you've seen some of these like old series or that they about kings and queens and how they have affairs and the king is always sleeping with women and
Mm,
etc. you know what they fail to realize is that a king might have all this power, right?
yeah.
But he has, what that's all they see. It's like he's got power, he's got women, he's got manipulation, but they don't see that there's always somebody out there that wants to take your stuff,
Yeah.
that wants to move into your place, that wants to take everything that you've built and everybody around it. So somebody has to lead for a long-term purpose. So, and people don't realize that, if somebody wants to be, successful, oh, I'm a queen and I'm a king. No, you're not. Never have,
Yeah.
and you never will be, even with money. You're not a fucking king and you're not a queen. You don't
Right.
own anything.
Right.
You only rule your goddamn house.
Well, but all these people want to rule.
You know.
They're
Uh,
kind of power hungry, I think.
you know. What do they call it? Draconians and shit. Whatever. I don't know. That's what they call
Yeah.
them, like, leeches. And so that's that. I've never understood that either. You know, I never understood like the whole purpose of a king. Of what was it, that goddamn Cinderella story or that movie where the king or the prince actually puts the shoe on the maid and she becomes like a main chick. I never understood that shit.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Cinderella.
yeah. And so, you know, I never understood that, and I was like, why would you want to save her? You know,
Right. Right.
why would you want to save her?
Yeah, the whole white knighting thing.
you know,
I don't know. Maybe it's. I can't say that because I've seen men with children behave in the same manner. I was gonna say maybe it's something like somebody who doesn't have children, somebody that's a higher priority, something that's like your primary focus. They might not have anything better to do, but no.
no, that's not true. Cinderella had a lot of work to do. It's called cleaning.
Yeah, I was talking about the white knight
oh,
situation.
yeah, no, no, I get it, but I never understood that either. Like, you know, I know that it's a guy's nature to want to make his girl happy or something like that, but it's all him focusing on her, but him never focusing on himself on what he wants.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. I mean, that's some crazy shit. So, um, but so yeah, so that's it. Going back to what I was saying, I'm probably just gonna be like, if anybody wants to have just like a normal conversation and you want to know something, don't be surprised that that I know what the solutions are, because you have one of the ways that in order to make things better, you have to be honest with yourself.
Yeah.
You got to tell me something that you don't want your other significant other to know. You're
Right.
hiding something, right? And you don't want him or her to know, fine, whatever. But you have to tell me, because if you don't tell me, then you're lying to yourself more,
Yeah.
you know? And so that's probably I'm going to focus on right now. I'll probably be more on the chats and seeing all the guys that are in here and uh, seeing how what's his name? Iridium Kush behaves on TV or on the stream. Uh, he just reminds me of my sibling. Gets high as a kite with the long hair, and I was like,
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, you guys are like alike.
He's a chemical engineer, works for a pretty major company.
That's fine. That doesn't make a difference, anyways, but it's a good thing.
Yeah,
And
no, Chris is a good dude, really good dude.
uh, no, I work in a blue collar as an electrician,
Yeah,
so you know I kind of like to work around the house and you know how should I call it remodel them if I can.
yeah.
A lot. I've noticed that a lot of times people want, nowadays it's like the way business has gone up in the housing market. Just to change the subject, everybody has big homes and everything's the same. It looks like shit. I was like, you guys
Hmm.
got no style.
Right. The cookie
Every
cutter neighborhoods.
yeah. I was like, this
Yeah.
shit is whack. I was like, you know what? Let me just get something that is fixable. I'll make it more intriguing where somebody wants it ready made, not over the top, because going over, you cannot afford it. 80% of like Americans, they cannot afford this shit.
Right.
Well, maybe 70, but the reality is many people cannot afford it. They're overpriced, and so like I like to remodel and sell it in the markets, something that's more affordable to them.
Mm.
But you get the cool things,
Yeah.
So that's going to be my main focus on just work and keep an eye on the chats, and then if anybody wants to have a conversation, I'm free to do so.
Okay. Yeah, Kush does interviews with people. I mean,
Cool.
the guys are always looking to connect and have conversations with guys and share experiences and
Usually,
contributing. Yeah.
well, we need that more than ever, anyways.
We do. We need more men speaking up. And there's
Uh,
not a lot of men that are comfortable being on camera and saying the things. So,
oh, well, at the end of the day, I always look at it like the only reason why I was never like on social media and etc. because privacy is a big thing, but you know you can have so much privacy, but um, if you're not comfortable with yourself, then you'll never grow. At least
yeah.
that's what I think. Like because people are always gonna attack you, whether they know you or they don't know you.
Right.
But if you're somebody or not somebody, it's like it really doesn't matter. So you might as well just
Yeah.
say it like it is.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, as long as you don't, disclose where you work, all that kind of stuff. Because crazy bitches love to get people fired. So,
that's cool.
yeah.
Okay, I'll find another one. It's all good. I mean, at the end of the day, it doesn't hurt me. I always known, like I've always taken like a job is never secure, so whatever.
Yeah.
You know. If I do get fired, I'll just have my kid work. He's all right. Time to go to work, man. You know,
Yeah.
and so I'm not really too much worried about that. Um, it doesn't really make a difference. I think like yeah, I think you one of the things that I've always known about that is if when you stand up for yourself and there's women around, if you're like say something that's more logical and something that's how should I say it? Something that with conviction, they may not like you, but they end up respecting you.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
I don't know what it is. I've been around crazy ass women. I mean, I'm talking about communist women.
Yeah.
As a boss. I remember one
Really.
time, yeah, she's like, because she's from Europe. What is it from? What is it? Armenia. Yeah, she's Armenian,
Mm.
and but she acted like Russian and shit. You know, all like with that Russian, with that Russian,
Yeah.
aggression going in there, right?
Yeah.
And so one, and prior working to her with her, rumors was going around about me and saying things about me that weren't true. So
Mm.
when I got to work and I got to, we instead of introducing ourselves and we're gonna work together, the first thing that comes out of her mouth, right, was like, "Oh, just to let you know, I know you hate women and etc." Right, right. A total bitch, right? That was the first thing
Yeah.
that came out of her mouth.
Feminist. Yeah.
And I came back and I clapped at her. Yeah, yeah. A fucking communist, right? Right there. I was like, God, you're just like them and shit.
Yeah.
Your husband wasn't enough. Now you got to come after me, right?
Right.
So I called her out and I told her, I was like, you know what? I don't hate women. I love them. I fuck them. The difference is I don't take no bullshit and from people like you. That's the difference,
Yeah.
right? Squash that. We left that, and time went by, and I still thought she didn't like me. But then I was working with, along with other people, and another girl said, like, no, she really likes you. I don't know what she does. She really likes you. And I'm like, maybe because I'm just a fucking asshole straight up for it, and I'm not gonna take this nonsense,
Right.
you know. Like I don't want to deal with this nonsense, Like at the end of the day, this is a shitty ass job. You need
Yeah.
me anyways, so it's like
Right.
not like you get anything better. What are you gonna get? You're not gonna get no goddamn what's his name? You're not gonna get no Leonardo DiCaprio working in here. So
Right.
get over it, you
Yeah.
know. you know. So that's gonna be that. So what does the chat say?
Mm.
If there's anybody, because I don't see anything here.
Oh. Yeah. There's a few people in there.
Now that's what that is. Jesus Christ. Man, I'm looking at it now. The guy over here says Armenian bitches are the worst. Like that sperm receptacle from the Young Turks. Jesus. That's a very insightful thought right there.
Sperm receptacle.
Man, women get a nose job to look more European.
Yeah, that's Contriver. He's from India.
Oh, he's from India.
Yeah.
He actually made it. He survived. That's crazy.
Yeah.
He survived that. Because how I said like people from India are like a lot of the men because they have like what is it India that they have like about 1 billion people, right? And a lot
Yeah,
of
they have a lot of people.
and I think a lot of the guys are they're how should I say it? They've been like feminized and they've been turned into like weak people, and I'm like, shit, he actually made it? No way.
Yeah. Yeah.
He survived? No shit. Good for him, man.
Yeah.
That's what's up.
Yeah, he's actually a good guy to talk to.
He says I should start my own YouTube channel. I would, but it seems like a lot of work with a lot of editing, and it'd be nice, but I think I have better skills somewhere else. I don't,
Yeah.
one thing I will have to accept that certain things, people have different skills in different areas. I will say that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this is
I'm,
not one of them.
yeah, I'm the same. If it wasn't for the streams, I wouldn't do anything online. Like I can push a button and have a conversation. The editing stuff and the content creating, I can't do. Yeah, he said Unix.
Mr. and Mrs. MGTOW were amazing, laughing my ass off. Who is that? Oh, I remember Lycus 101.
Mm,
Is it Lycus? Isn't he like a radio talk show host in somewhere in California?
I think so.
Yeah, I remember.
The guys talk about Tom Likas a lot.
There you go. That's his name.
Yeah.
That's the guy. Yeah, he talked about how he got screwed so many times, and he
Yeah.
was still willing to walk in and get screwed again. I was like, brother,
Right. Right? Yeah.
Yeah. He's like, why would I do that? And I was like, that's the same shit I want to know. Why would you do it? And you're the one that's telling me the goddamn show. I was like, how does this make sense, you know? But
Right.
yeah, no. And yeah, you know, when he, what's his name? What's that other guy? There was another guy in here where he says that we're ahead of the curve, you know. Yeah, we've always been ahead of the curve. I think even when times go bad, rough times, you know, when rough times come, when like the real climax comes, we're gonna surpass everybody because everybody's once they get that downfall, everybody's gonna get a reality check.
Yeah.
Nobody's gonna like the outcome. How can this be? They're gonna be deceased. They're gonna want heads, you know, or
Yeah.
somebody to blame. And while we know the truth, we know how to adapt to the situation,
Yeah.
you know. So that's
I feel like I'm at that point. I want heads and I'm blaming feminists.
I wish they would bring like, you know, like the old school style of like, you know, different like the
Punishment.
Roman, yeah, Roman Catholics and shit. Burn them
Yes.
down, you know, burn those witches.
Yes. Yes. That's what I'm thinking.
Where the hell is Salem when you need it? Huh? The Salem
Right.
witches,
I'm wondering what really happened with the Salem witch trials.
you know? It's
I
like
feel like
burn those bitches down.
right. I feel like we have so much history that's been muddied and we don't really know a lot of the real reasons why things happened. We just keep being told it's men's fault, right?
Yeah, sure. I'll go
Yeah.
along with it.
Well,
You're right.
but when I see what's happening now, I see a lot of women at fault and I'm like, this has to have happened before. Well, why isn't it written somewhere? Why isn't the history documented?
Come on now. We can't let the truth come out.
Right?
Then we can't cheat, lie, and steal like we normally do.
Right.
You know. Oh, you
Yeah.
know what? Speaking of that, I think that a good book for the MGTOW or maybe even for yourself if you are into it, probably a good book that most guys can read. You know, since a lot of MGTOWs are always looking for self improvement, but also if you want to understand a little bit more depth of society through history, a really good book that you can read, and you probably heard of this. It's called Rising Logos.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, Rising Logos is book made by an author by the name of Michael E. Jones. Have you heard that name?
Mm-mm.
He he's a scholar and he talks about the entire history of society from Greek, you know, from Greek society up to now. And he went, I believe, to Europe somewhere in to learn about history through a Catholic. And instead of reading the Bible, it's better reading this if you're not into the Bible. If you're like, you know, you're a guy that you know believes in the truth and you know believes in values, right? But you don't want to read it. That's cool. It's not for everybody, but at least you know you can respect that. But if you read called Rising Logos, it talks about the history and the behaviors and how things have always
Who who's the author again?
Michael E. Jones or E. Michael Jones. It even talks about the what was it? Uh, the you know how many people use the word libidos and for
Mm-hmm.
more like a sexual tension.
Mm-hmm.
Well, libido comes from the actual individual who wrote the story about the sexual revolution by the name of Libido Dominandi. That's where the word libido comes from. He wrote it, and he talked about how the sexual revolution caused chaos in society.
Right. Okay,
You know,
Logos Rising, A History of Ultimate Reality.
see,
Is it
yeah,
on Audible though?
Oh Christ! You know what? I'll
I'm
give
a
you that one.
I'm a chick. I like people reading to me.
You like bedtime stories. I get it. You know. But no, actually, this book actually is really good, and you'll learn a lot out of the history of it. But if you're, and it'll go all the way from like just from the very ancient time from Muslims and the different ways that they believe and
Yeah,
Taoism. They believe in like the nature
yeah.
and
That
some people may
that's
like it.
that's kind of where I reside in
Oh,
the
really?
yeah, very very basic, simple
Yeah.
truths, and I feel like it translates well into kind of science, like actual science.
Well, it
Like
does because he
yeah,
also describes reality and science.
yeah,
It's only now that in colleges they'll use science more over faith and belief and purpose.
yeah. But then you have the pseudosciences that is all about faith and belief.
Yeah. No, I get those guys, but I'm just talking about in general. Like they'll use that to prove their point. Oh, it's like
Yeah.
it's global warming.
Mm,
What fucking global warming? Ain't nothing
right.
going on here.
Right.
It's called nature, jackass.
Right. Right.
It's called Mother Nature. Some seasons are better than others. What can I say?
Right.
Some folks are fortunate and some people are not. It is what it is. Somebody's got to go,
Yeah.
So, and so he just talks about how, the two worlds that are introduced through society, through universities, and how it actually affects society. So when you talk about like feminism, right?
Yeah.
Feminism is in schools. They teach how to
Everywhere.
hate, right?
Everywhere.
He talks about it. When you start believing in this kind of crazy shit,
Yeah.
this is what happens.
Yes. Huh.
Yeah.
I wonder.
So
I've never heard of it. I will check it out though.
yeah, it's very interesting. You know, it says I'm alive. I'm alive. I'm alive. I'm playing SpongeBob.
Yeah, some of the guys like to multitask, listen to these while they game or something,
Uh,
or at work.
okay. Well, if there's anybody, you guys have any questions, I'd be more than happy
Yeah,
to.
I was gonna see if you wanted if Contriver was available. He was gonna come up on the last stream, but if he wanted to chat with you about anything, if you wanted to know anything more about India, he is in the belly of the beast over there.
Uh,
What
you know what?
feminism has done to his country is awful. There's a lot of
Oh,
laws. Sorry.
a lot of laws against them. Yeah, I'm not
Yeah,
surprised.
worse than here.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
I've also known even like in certain places of like in the Middle East where back in time when certain people, certain men in this world back in that time were not allowed to procreate, so they would actually remove
Yeah.
their genitals.
Yeah. No,
That shit
uh
was crazy.
they had a I don't know what you call it over there, a president, whatever. There was a
Maybe a
chick,
prime minister,
yeah,
maybe.
a chick that castrated tons and tons of people, men. Yeah. Like chemically castrated. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So that's that crazy stuff.
Yeah,
And
women in leadership.
well,
Not a good idea.
you know, you know, happy wife, happy life, right?
Mm.
Yeah, doesn't sound like it. you know, I don't fall for that shit. I'd be like, happy wife. That's a dead man walking right there.
Right.
That
Yeah.
guy's not gonna see 60. Be my
Yeah.
guess. If you do, you won't recognize him. you know. But so is it your channel? Are you like just looking to have conversations like with with guys like us in general, that you can learn something new, or is it like something that you can teach to young women?
Both.
Both.
Yeah. Um, my primary focus has been on trying to talk to some of these feminists, but they're too cowardly. Um, Also, I tend to focus mostly on the psychology field and universities
Mm,
because that's where I see is the biggest saturation of these crazy bitches that have power. They're in positions of power and authority, and they're able to manipulate society and change policies.
mm.
So yeah, that's the field that I see that's the most incompetent right now because it's full of feminists and they're lying. So that's kind of been my target, and try to get these crazy bitches to speak the truth or just
Okay.
fucking get them fired for incompetence because they're literally destroying society.
Oh, I know. Well, I don't know. I mean, and only the one thing I would say is like, if I guess you got to go in the same kind of tactic that they put impose in society. You got to put another girl in there to chop
Right?
off the head. You can't put another
Exactly.
guy in there because he's gonna burn the
Exactly.
fucking building down, and then nobody will go to
Right.
school.
Right. Right. Yeah, that's
Uh,
some of the guys call me like you need a Terminator to destroy another Terminator. They call me the
yeah.
T-800.
Oh shit, you're gonna need a TA 3000, man. We need to like
Yeah.
up there. And yeah,
Mm,
no, that's good. Good luck, but
I know. A lot of people don't have any belief or faith that anything major can be done. I'm just trying to help the collapse happen faster, I guess. Maybe
a what?
the collapse help that along faster.
Oh, I know. I mean, I don't know. I don't know about this idea that they're gonna come and begging, and they're gonna want to cooperate with men to cohabitate and
Mm.
procreate. I don't know about that. I don't know about that.
I think if they
Maybe
were scared and hungry enough, they would change.
I would let them starve.
Yeah, yeah.
We got too many of
That's
these bitches overweight.
Oh, exactly. That's why I want to get them fired. I'm like, cut off their funding for one. They shouldn't be being paid for this grift.
Yeah,
Like they shouldn't be compensated. Like chief diversity officers. You know how much those crazy bitches make?
chief diversity. What?
A chief diversity officer for like a corporation.
Okay.
These bitches make like six figures.
Doing what?
I don't know. I've been working at a company and I'm trying to find what this crazy bitch actually does. Because when I first started working there, they have this paperwork you have to sign for diversity and inclusion. And it's talking about this group stuff that they do and, these events that they host. And I've been trying to get in with it and nobody knows anything about it. And it's signed by this chief diversity officer, which is a woman of color, right? It's always a fucking black woman that's in that position making 250 grand a year.
That's crazy.
Yeah. For doing what? I don't know. The last thing that I was told from my boss, because he'd never heard of it either. So he emailed her and she still hasn't responded. So I'm wondering what the fuck these crazy bitches get paid for. Meanwhile, they cut the hours of the lower echelon workers because something with sales. I'm like, why are you paying this bitch over here this amount of money and cutting the hours of people that have families? Like, I don't get that.
That's cold, and well, I mean, I hope you get to the bottom of it, and you can run, you can hit it really hard like a bus and shit, but
Yeah.
but
I just want to have a conversation with one of these
ah, Christ,
crazy bitches.
you can't talk to these people. It's
I
us against them. You already know that.
I know they see me as their enemy and they're terrified to have a conversation for what reason I don't know, but I want to talk to one in real time, face to face, because all the ones I've tried to engage online are too cowardly. So I'm trying to sneak up on one in their natural habitat.
Good luck, man. That's
Yeah.
I know you're working. That's opening up another can of worms in there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
hope that shit slurps once you open it. But
I think it will. It's
if
going
you
well
get
so
it,
far.
if you make it happen,
Yeah.
I'll give you credit when credit's due. You know, you know, because I be going in there swinging left and right for no reason. I don't even know why. I just
Yeah.
did it.
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
So, well,
Well,
hopefully it works out for you then.
yeah. Well, shall we bring this to a close? I appreciate you
Yeah,
contacting me to share your story. I'm happy to share it. We need
yeah.
more voices and faces out there.
Oh well, I'll still be around and I'll be in the chat and see who's a new individual that will come in and
Yeah.
see that you know this situation that they're not alone in the world and you know like most people say we don't die, we multiply. And I hope
Right.
that keeps going.
Yeah, me too.
All right. Well, hope everybody has a good time
Yeah.
and I'll be around.
Okay. It was good to
Thank
meet
you.
you, Joel.
You too. Take
All right.
care.
You too. Bye.
Bye.
All right. Right, JR? That's what I'm working on. Well, that was interesting. So, yeah. I self-identify as the wall. My channel's the wall. Getting guys on the other side of it, though, and keeping them over there, they keep wanting to jump over and try to fight with these crazy bitches. I don't get it. Lanes, people, lanes. All right, Jer. I'll see you later. Dark Blade, good to see you. Contriver, good to see you. Smith, pooping while standing. Always with the good quotes. Manletopia. And anybody else who might be listening. Catch you later. Good night.